Wow. Wow.
There we go. Maybe? Yeah, there we go. Looks like that should be working. I hope this doesn't freeze up a whole bunch. I am using Just the mic and everything, as you can probably see. I've got my laptop, the same one I used for the build stream. But today, we're going to be doing a cooking stream. So I'm going to be going and watching the Chiefs game with a friend in a little bit. So we're going to be making some double chocolate brownies, which all I need to add for this is a 1/4 cup water, 1/3 cup vegetable oil, and an egg. So we're going to start with that. In fact, I'm going to preheat the oven now so we can have that ready to go. Down a little bit. Yeah, you can also see my kitchen here. So here, I'll actually go to my phone again here, just to show what this looks like when it doesn't have a bunch of 2x4s and stuff in it. So this is where we're going to be doing most of the magic. This is just goes right into my living room here. And then this is what this area looks like without shelves, without all the shelving kind of currently set up. So I hate that the AC unit really only fits there. I installed that to hold most of my pans. And we're actually going to be cooking these brownies in some cast iron. But you can see I've prepped most of my ingredients and stuff there. I've also put a little camera mount up at the top so that we can hopefully capture some of that as I'm doing the mixture and everything as well. Does that still look okay? Yeah, it still looks alright. Maybe a little bit crooked, but it's okay. We can fix that easily. So for this, we're just going to mix everything up. Pull out some stuff here. I cleaned in advance to prepare. But I was also hoping I'd be able to play some background audio. It got very choppy when I started it. So I think this, this laptop just unfortunately can't handle everything for all the processing for all this stuff. So I will do my best and also try to talk into the mic, since I know a lot of people couldn't hear everything when I was working on building the computers. But a lot of that is just I was focused on trying to make sure I wasn't screwing anything up with the computers themselves first. Okay, so for this, basically just going to put water, oil, egg in a bowl, stir until fully mixed, and then we'll add our mix. Preheat. But I actually love cooking. I love baking. My mother is a huge baker, and so helping her out or getting involved in baking has been something that I've been doing for a really long time. I don't know, is this better? Yeah, this is probably better until I get to or I can move the, maybe I can just whisk everything over the oven. Let's see. How does that look? We're testing out these little camera mounts too. I have a little camera rig I built for the computer stream, the build stream too. So if I need to put this up, just trying to maximize counter space. But maybe I move this here now. That update like this. Yeah. And if the stars align, it should hold. Yeah. Well. That should hold. How's that look? Looks pretty good. It's not like perfect, but for our first one, I think that's pretty damn good. Okay. We'll go with that. I don't really think we're going to have to measure too much stuff out here. I'm going to use measuring cups and things, obviously, but you can get really crazy and, you can... Yeah. You can measure things out, to the gram. I know a lot of people recommend that when they're... when they're doing cooking and baking, especially for things like cookies, but I'm using a modified recipe that I've had in... that I've had for some time. I really like peanut butter cookies, but also like chocolate chip. And since I'm going to be going to a barbecue that was put together by some friends for the Chiefs game today, I am just going to try to bring desserts. That was what I was asked to do. So we'll be making box brownies, but custom cookies, peanut butter chocolate chunk cookies. Actually, I don't know if I can rotate that back. If I unplug the power cord, it'll die really fast. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. But I think that looks pretty good. And yeah, I'll just mix everything up in here. So for this, we're just doing 1/4 cup water, which probably just do with this. And then we'll do 1/3 cup vegetable oil. Oh yeah, these are all my, well, I guess I can just use the webcam. On this rack, you can see all of underneath the rack I built to hold my stainless and cast iron stuff and my wok are all of my oils. So we have grapeseed oil, virgin olive oil, vegetable oil, a couple of other just canola oils, and then a couple things of coconut oil, all from Costco. Yeah, I like that. Gives a little bit better view of me talking. Kitchen in the background. This camera actually over here on the side, I just used a twist tie to mount to this other little rack, this drying rack that I installed as well. But this is my kitchen. Okay, yeah. Move it up a little bit so you can hear me talking. Okay, vegetable oil. But I'm also doing this a little bit later in the afternoon because I was told that people were excited to get fresh cookies. So I'm trying to get there around like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So the goal is to have these come out of the oven and go onto drying racks pretty close to 4 o'clock, which is why we're doing the brownies first, because the brownies take 40 minutes to bake. So while the brownies are baking, we are going to start making and mixing the batter for the cookies, because the cookies only take like 10 or 13 minutes or so to make, so much easier and much less time. But all I have here in my measuring cup so far is just, I don't know if you can actually see the separation there, you probably can on the webcam though. All we have is our oil and our water, so we will add an egg to that and whisk it up as recommended. Might as well get out some of the eggs I know we'll need, because I think they're supposed to actually be at room temperature for the cookies. So we'll take out our cookie eggs. You're going to 325? Yeah. Instead of using a whisk for this stuff, I actually usually just prefer to use chopsticks. So I've got some metal chopsticks that I think work pretty well. You're mixing this stuff up. You just kind of turn it sideways. I really need to get a wireless mic. I realize I should be talking into... Well, actually, this could probably move over here too. I don't have wires too far everywhere, but yeah, that might reach for later. Or I can just walk around and hold it like I'm a fucking rock star or some shit. Anyways. Okay. So I think we want to mix this slowly though, right? Yeah, add brownie mix and stir until well mixed. This makes it super easy. We also have additional chocolate chips that I'm probably going to add to this. Perfect timing. Yeah, let's get those chocolate chips too. But this is why I want to build shelves. All the stuff that was right over here on the side in crates that you saw, and with all the 2x4s and everything that I showed off during my PC build stream, they were all over there because I don't have any shelf space over here. And even these shelves, like I bought these little shelf organizers, they're so skinny. Like they're not even like a full 6 inches. Oh, you can't fully see that. But the shelves I have next to the oven, so like these right here, are so skinny. Can I actually pull this up and show that off? Yeah. Like, my hand is bigger than these shelves, which is crazy. So whoever built these sucks. Because there's more space available too. Like there's a hole next to the wall. You can even see. Like there's a good 2 inches here. And the way they set this up is just like really weird and stupid. But anyways, we gotta get some chocolate chips. When I say we have extra, we have a lot extra. So keep these away from the oven for now. No one wants them pre-melted. But for this, we will use our whisk. Should get like a little griddle attachment for the top of this too. Not only for doing griddle things, but so that when I am putting stuff like this, I have a better and more flat surface to work on. So I am using a whisk for this part. Because we want to get it all nice and mixed. Oh, hello, friend. Do you smell food? You want to be on stream? You missing out because you're not on stream today? I don't know if you heard that, but that is Jackson coming in to say hello to everyone. I also have my headphones in so that hopefully I can hear alerts, but we'll see. I tested some of the alerts, but they didn't really work on the PC build stream the same way that they do or normally have on my desktop. But we're also continuing to give to Doctors Without Borders. Today is, I think, the last day of the charity. So if you are able to give, please do. They're doing great work in over 70 countries. Look at that. It's starting to look really good. Yeah, I guess I can just try and move. I don't want it to fall off. But I can move the mic right there, which hopefully still picks up pretty well. I can turn the gain up too. Maybe that'll make it a little bit better. What brand is the mix? The brand is Specialty Selected from Aldi. Is that upside down? So, and then the cookies are actually a peanut butter cookie recipe that I think you gave me a really long time ago that I've since modified and added chocolate chunk stuff to. But we're just doing something simple, and like I said, I'm going to put this in cast iron. Actually, cast iron that I restored. So I used to live at a house in Orange County that had some people who did not take care of the property very well, but had some barns and other spaces on the property. So there were actually these two cast iron that I restored fully from pretty rusted, kind of old things. So I'm going to wipe this out, and we're going to use the cast iron actually to make the brownies in. I'm going to take those over. That'll also hopefully let them cool a little bit while we're doing the cookies after this. But we're looking pretty good on time. Okay, so that looks nice and mixed. Pretty easy when you're doing it from the box. But welcome in, Three Sons Mom. And also, congratulations on your gift sub that you got the other night. I believe that one was actually given by Con, but KC Chiefs gave out a few too, which was really, really nice. So these pans are already extremely well seasoned, but since we're going to be using a bunch of butter for the cookies, whenever I'm baking with this stuff, I usually like to just run a little bit of butter along it, so we'll just do that before we cut it up. I also like to get my butter from the Costco wholesale, so not just Costco. So my sticks of butter come in blocks. So we'll cut that off real quick here too. Okay. So, I'm just going to run this along the pan. Not trying to get any like huge chunks or anything in there, but just giving it a nice little rimming. And that should, in theory, help with them just separating a little bit later. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll save this, put that aside for our cookies. So we need a full stick of butter for the cookies. Okay. We'll also reuse that mixing bowl for the cookies so we get a little bit of extra chocolatey goodness in there. Alright. Oh, spatula. Hello, Jackson. For those who can't see him, he is right here at my feet, watching me like a hawk. Fortunately, he can't eat any of this stuff. Not for Kitty. Put that in there. And then, let's see if I can do this in front of the camera that I set up. But we'll just spatula all of this out. Oh no, we're not as well mixed as I thought we were. We've still got some stuff at the bottom. We don't want any dry batter in there. It looks pretty creamy. Okay. My favorite part for both the cookies and the brownies. I love spatulaing it out and then being able to lick my fingers or lick the batter once you get everything that's not on the spatula. But we want this to spread pretty evenly. And then we'll add some more chocolate chips to the top. Yeah, I think these boxes at Aldi are like $3. They're not very expensive. And as you can see, it doesn't take very long to make them either. Okay, so we'll get as much of this off and in there as we can. Looks pretty good. And then the rest is for me. My favorite part. I'm not licking the spatula because we're going to use that for the cookies next, even though we are baking everything, so it doesn't really matter. But give her a quick rinse. Okay. Brownies are going in. What time are we at right now? 2:51. Perfect. So this is another benefit of using chopsticks. You can kind of get all the bits off the side. We'll get our other chocolate chip cookies, which I think are from, they're either from Aldi or I might have gotten these at Whole Foods. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember exactly where these are from, but Bake Believe is the brand for these. Here, in case that's easier to read, since that might have been upside down. Okay, that should be pretty good. And we'll move those. Got cables in front of me too. Just kind of Move that around, make sure this is about even. Spread it out a little bit. Looks pretty good. I could honestly just eat it like this. I know that's not healthy and not recommended, but whatever. I used to eat raw eggs all the time. Used to shoot them before my protein shake. Which is also behind me, or while I'm continuing to be an unofficial Costco and I guess Aldi now rep. This is the protein stuff I use pretty much every morning. And if I supplement that with additional whey, this is also from Aldi. You can get basically the same version of this stuff at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's and Aldi carry a lot of the same brands, even for their snacks and stuff. I didn't know until recently that they were both started by brothers. So they share a lot of supplier stuff. Okay, but recommendations on this, basically 39 to 43 minutes depending on your pan size. It recommends a 9x9, and that is almost the exact dimensions. This is a little bit larger. It's like 9.5 by 9.5, but I think that'll work out perfect. So I don't know if you can see me putting things in the oven like that. Not really, I guess. I need to get an oven cam. That would be perfect. But for the next part, which is my favorite part, we're going to do the cookies. And I'll show kind of my adapted recipe real quick here, in case anyone wants to screenshot it or take a look at it. But let's see here. Can I do... Let's do back. Yeah, so you can see the craziness I have going on in the background on this old laptop. Oh, it froze. Oh no! Don't crash! We're just getting to the cookie part. Okay, it's not crashed. But we're basically just doing 2.5 cups flour, teaspoon baking soda, teaspoon baking powder, which I have right here. And then we'll do a little bit of sea salt, some butter, and then real peanut butter. So again, kind of Kirkland repping. I use it's just called creamy peanut butter. The ingredients are peanuts. So dry roasted salted peanuts. But then some granulated sugar and brown sugar, which again, I'm just using kind of cheap stuff. So this is like Signature Select, the stuff you get from Aldi. And then we've got our Signature Select flour. So I'll pull all this out and we'll show all the ingredients on the oven as we're going. But yeah, basically just mix all of that together and then, you'll be set. So we'll pull this all out. Or, full disclosure, we have prepped some of this stuff. So that's why we have all of these little Ziploc bags. Since it's a little warm right here, we'll just pull it out and then I'll put it all back together later. But we're using pre-sifted bread flour, unbleached. We've got some Arm & Hammer pure baking soda. I forget which direction it should be, just like that. And then I have just regular granulated sugar, just the box stuff, pure cane sugar. And then some packed regular brown sugar. So that's going to be the majority of it. Oh, and some Clabber Girl double-acting baking powder. But for the eggs, the reason I took those out earlier is it says those should be at room temperature, and we're just going to be doing 2 full eggs and 1 egg yolk. So I'm actually going to crack those into a glass here. Just pull a little glass out that I don't have over there. Okay. Oh, we also need to melt our butter. Oh, shit. Got butter, eggs, and sugar all in my hand at the same time. But this might get a little bit in the way of this. No? Nice. There we go. We'll also need to mix the flour and ingredients in, well, put that in here. Why the hell not? But for this, we'll just do 1 yolk. So that'll be our yolk. So let me get rid of this white real quick. And then 2 eggs. Nice. Clean breaks. So there's our eggs. And where'd my little whisking chopstick go? But yeah, for those who have wondered why I've been talking about wireless mics, having these wires everywhere, and also, you know, wearing wireless headphones and some of that stuff, it's kind of a pain in the ass. And same thing for just going in between my computer room and in here. Like if I'm not talking into this mic awkwardly, you can't hear me. But we're doing just the same thing we did before. I know some people say add the eggs whole, and you know, don't add them one at a time whole, and don't, you know, do all this stuff to it, but I like to just whisk it up first. And then we also have our butter, which maybe you can see a little bit better on this camera. It's looking a little choppy for me too again, so hopefully this laptop doesn't die. I am pushing it to its max. Just like my old desktop, which kind of did die, but it is what it is. Okay, so after our butter is melted and our eggs are put together, what we're going to do is we're going to take all the flour and everything. So in a medium bowl, whisk together flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Oh yeah, I need my teaspoons and tablespoon. So for the flour, we want 2.5 cups. So I'm just going to do it to get it as close as possible without using my fancy scale over here. I'm just going to do it in 1/2 cup increments. And the way I've found to make this work pretty well is just to drag the cup along the side. So you get it kind of full like that, and then you just smooth it out along the side of the bag. So you should be getting almost an exact 1/2 cup that way. So. And I do it with the 1/2 cup instead of the full cup because it's just a little bit easier. Last one. Okay. So there may be an extra gram in there. Oh no! I'm also getting flour and shit all over my oven. That's okay. We'll clean up later. Don't know where my little clip went for this either. Oh, there it is. Okay, and then we want just a teaspoon of the rest of this, I think, right? Yeah. Well, the sugar we want more of, but I don't need to add that just yet. But yeah, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, we're just doing a teaspoon of each of those. So same exact thing. The baking soda is a little bit more finicky because you have to pour it out, but for these, you can just kind of put it in there, and then it has this little lip at the top, so you can do the exact same thing I was doing with the sides for the flour. Just kind of flatten it out until you know it's full. Like that. Alright. And then our salt. I use this, also from Costco. Pink fine grain Himalayan sea salt. But for the tops that come with these, which are refillable, which is really, really nice, you can do this, which really works out well for cooking if you don't just want to have to... as I spill a bunch. But that's life. We'll just take a little bit extra out of the little... So this just isn't completely full, since we dumped a little bit extra in there. But these are actually just going to be for me, because I've already prepped some of the other stuff. Where'd my regular... So in this, you just want to mix up really well, which is why it's useful to have. You can always go bigger on bread. Oh, I do have a tiny whisk. What the fuck am I doing? This whisk used to have a handle too, but it broke. But it still works for this. Okay, so once that's mixed really well, we want to start the fun part of this, which we're going to mix peanut butter into our butter first. So we'll just put all the butter in here. I don't want to spill this. And then the recipe calls for a 3/4 cup of peanut butter, which again, I'm just using Kirkland creamy peanut butter, but you do want to make sure it's really, really well whisked itself first. Because it can get, you know, hard bits at the bottom, or the way I've found, since I eat the shit out of this stuff, like I have extra things of this that I actually cleaned out. But what I do is I usually store them upside down so that the oils don't gather at the top, they gather at the bottom, and then it makes it really easy. So you can see how creamy that is without me even really getting in there and stirring it. But you don't have to worry about getting all those hard chunks at the bottom, or as you start to get lower, you don't get that really disgusting, like, dry peanut butter stuff. Where you can see how easy this is flowing into here without any hard lumps and chunks. But since I know that I had already eaten about half of this, this should be almost exactly 3/4 of a cup. And again, I'm not getting crazy with all the measurements. I know some people recommend doing that for things like cookies, but I'm not that insane about it. But we want to mix this up until it's just basically one creamy, warm, buttery mixture, and we don't have any peanut buttery chunks. Which doesn't take very long, especially if you get it really quickly after you microwave it. Like, I even let that set aside for probably a little bit too long. Yeah, look at that. Oh, we're also going to add vanilla to this too. And I did get some fancier vanilla. Where did I put that? Did I put that away? I say I did get it. I've actually had it for like 6 months. But since the last time I cooked or baked like this, yeah. So I do have some premium quality vanilla extract. Here, I'll show that on this camera too. So that is a little bit nicer. And it is also crazy expensive. I can't believe how much nice vanilla costs. But that is what we want to do 2 teaspoons of, and we can just put right into there, or we can mix that into this after it's all kind of mixed up, which is what I prefer to do. So if I'm reading the instructions, just to make sure, like a real cooking thing, I'm walking through this correctly. We are vigorously stirring the peanut butter into the butter until well combined, then adding granulated sugar and brown sugar, then adding well, this says to add the vanilla then, but I'm going to add in the vanilla after I've stirred it together with all of the eggs and egg yolks and everything. But we're going to add the sugar and brown sugar first. And again, for both of those, we're just going to do half a cup of granulated sugar, and then it says a half cup to 1 cup of brown sugar. So we'll do a full cup of brown sugar. And the reason my recipe says that is because, like I mentioned before, this is a combination. I've taken things that have been recommended to me by family and then the internet, and then I just kind of tweaked it over time. So if I'm not measuring everything out completely carefully or perfectly, it's because this isn't my first rodeo. I don't know where I put my half cup though. So we'll do a half cup of regular sugar. I'm trying to pour this a little bit slower so I don't end up with the spill like we did with the salt. Or honestly the flour, which I got kind of all over my oven. Looks pretty good. Teeny tiny more. And what we're going to do is put this right in here and continue mixing this up. But by the time I get to the brown sugar, we're going to be at the limits of our measuring cup. So we'll move that into this big bowl. Actually, I could move the flour into that bowl. I just don't want to... That's going to be a pretty full mixture, but I think we can pull it off. And actually, I think we can fit a cup of brown sugar in here, too. Uh-oh. Wow. It is getting warm. I guess I can... The fan will probably be loud, though. How loud is this? Yeah, that's going to be loud. I'll just sweat a little bit. That's okay. Yeah, for our brown sugar, since we're going to be mixing everything in this next, we'll just put this right in here. Good. I'm sure real baking enthusiasts everywhere, if they ever see this, are going to be like, this fucking guy. Just not even really fully measuring shit. Just throwing stuff in there. Okay. And instead of adding our vanilla to this right now, I'm going to do that after we've added the flour. Oh, this is also so good. It's basically just peanut butter and sugar and butter. Which, not the healthiest, but I was asked to bring desserts, not healthy sides. So, if people complain that my desserts are too sweet, fuck them. All right, so now, before I make a huge mess, we're just going to slowly add this into here. So you don't want to do this quickly. Like, you want to take your time with this part. Because if you add it too fast, it'll end up really lumpy and hard. So just put a little bit in at a time, like that, and just whisk it up. And I know some people recommend using, KitchenAids and actual kitchen mixers and stuff for that. I totally get that. Oops, we did get a little flour out. Totally get that, but those are expensive as fuck, and I don't own one, so I don't have a $400 mixer. And on top of that, you don't really need it for these. Like, sure, it might come out like a little bit smoother and creamier, but I don't know. I have used mixers that my mother and grandmother owned, but I have never owned one myself. So pretty much everything I've baked, I'm done with my bare hands. Well, bare hands and tools. Once it gets really hard, it is actually sometimes helpful to put your bare hands in here, because you'll start to get this problem, which is one thing that mixers do benefit, is you don't have everything clumping up inside your whisk. Look at that, we're already turning into dough. But same thing, you don't want like clumps of flour getting stuck in the whisk. And this is also where using chopsticks can be super helpful. It should pull it out pretty easily like that. Oh, it's looking good. Okay, we got a little bit more flour though. So here's where it starts to get really lumpy, but we're gonna fix that after we've mixed it all in. And also why I like to add some of the vanilla later. But with mixers, it's also easier to add it in smaller amounts as you go, so it doesn't get all crumbly like that. But that's where I'll show you how I solve that problem. Okay. Still looking good. But if it looks like this and is too crumbly, what you can do is add milk to it. And that is what I'm going to do. But I want to get just the last little bit of this in there first. Okay. Whoops. It is really getting warm. But I have a tiny bit of almond milk here that we'll add once this is all mixed in there. So, dang, even that's getting hot just from sitting here. Too hot to touch. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit more crumbly than I'd like. But it'll still work out well. Like, if it's just completely dry, you're screwed. Oh, shit. And this is also probably why it's drier than it should be. Because we forgot to add our egg with our peanut butter. So that's kind of a big mistake. But we're doing it live! And it's not the end of the world. This will still be salvageable. Actually, I'm just going to put this all in here and mix it by hand. Mix the rest of it by hand. Sitting there talking shit on the people who recommend just cracking the eggs and adding them one by one. And there I go, trying to be fancy and then forgetting part of my recipe. Yeah, this will still work. Oh yeah. Looks so good. Just want to eat it this way. But it is better to add those eggs earlier before you get, you know, stuff kind of bread, like crumbly like that. It may not mix as well if you do it later, like I just did. But I didn't claim I was a professional. I just said I like to cook and bake a lot. And this is also still looking pretty damn good. Get some of these big parts on the sides. Use the dough to gather the dough and the rest of the flour. And any tiny bits we've dropped. I did clean my oven before I started this too, so A, it's not normally that clean all the time, and B, I did that just in case I didn't have any spills or anything. But once this is pretty well mixed, or you've got like, you know, have it so that you don't have a bunch of stuff stuck to the sides and you can make like one giant ball out of it, I just like to then squeeze it out until it's really, like until it's not even really sticking to my fingers, which you can see it still is kind of. Yeah, that looks good! I don't even really think we need to add much milk or anything to this, but if you want to add milk to it, I usually just do a tiny little bit, make a little hole in the middle like that, and then we'll just pour in a teeny tiny bit. Yeah. Plenty. We're also almost done on our brownies. Oh yeah, look at that! Okay. So and then for this, you can add the chocolate chips right into this. But it's recommended that you refrigerate this overnight, or some people even do it for a couple of nights. I'm not going to do it for that long. I also may have added just a teeny tiny bit too much milk since it's starting to come back off on my fingers. But this still looks pretty damn good. In fact, I might make a couple cookies with this just so we can do a comparison with the stuff that I did prepare yesterday. I know I also look very sweaty, but I'm trying not to sweat into the food. Okay. I just don't have the fan or anything on because it ruins the sound quality. Like I even have that AC unit on the window that I would normally probably turn on if I were wanting to have friends over to do this, but instead we'll just try to keep ourselves well lighted. Where did chocolate chips go? It also says a cup of chips. Generous half cup, generous half cup. It's probably a little more than a cup. And I say probably, it definitely is. But same exact thing here. I'm just going to mix the chocolate chips in pretty well. Try to not get them all over the oven. But I also would do this normally after it's cooled a little bit, just so you can even see, because of how hot this bowl is getting sitting on top of my hot oven, it's already starting to melt a little bit. You don't want that. You want the chips and everything to stay cool, and that's why you then can refrigerate this overnight. So that's what I'm going to do with this. And then I'll cook some of this tomorrow too. But we're going to move this aside. Yeah, that looks pretty damn good. So that is our peanut butter chocolate chip cookie batter, which we'll pull a little bit out of just so we can do a comparison against what I prepped yesterday. And what we're going to actually be baking, which is the exact same recipe, but looks like this after you've refrigerated it. Now I did pull it out a couple hours ago because you usually don't want it to be cold when you're baking, but we'll take a baking sheet again here and just use parchment paper, which again, from Kirkland. In fact, all of my parchment paper, aluminum foil, all of that shit is from Kirkland, or from Costco. Probably a little bit too much parchment paper, but I use spoons. I know some people have those like ice cream scoopers and cookie dough scoopers. I'm not that fancy. So we'll just use 2 big spoons. And again, all of this is clean. I just ran this earlier to get this out. Oh yeah, look at that! We'll just use 2 big spoons and try to group these up. That might be too big, but I also used some chocolate chunks last night. Yeah, that's too big. Usually like one of these big spoons is about the right size. I'll take a little bit from that. We're just gonna roll these up, make little balls. And you wanna give them room to expand too. What's up, Sauce? Welcome in. I didn't see your chat earlier. It's supposed to be giving me notifications. I also wanted to play background music, but when I do, my laptop freezes, just like from the Build a PC stream. Yeah, that one's probably a little too big too. I don't have an exact measurement for this. I was thinking of using my scale to weigh it all out, but I haven't done that the last few times I've actually made the cookies, so I don't think we need to do that. But we're going to line 2 of these sheets too, so if it looks like I'm not going to fit all of this on one baking sheet, you are correct. These also might be big enough to where they're going to touch. So we'll put them kind of as close to the corners as we can. But I'm also going to do the little fork trick, since the peanut butter ones can, like, you flatten it out and press the little fork stuff on top. That might be too much too. But just kind of like making hamburger, you just get a feel for making the balls the right size. And I like them being a little bit thicker so that they get chewier in the middle. Everybody has their own way of doing it. Oh, I also put a whole bag of chocolate chunks, same kind of thing, also from Aldi. You can get the same exact ones at Trader Joe's in this mix. So instead of measuring out the chocolate chips, I just got a bag that was like, you know, the right size. I really want to just start eating this cookie dough though. It smells so good. But the benefit of refrigerating it overnight too is you get this like nice creamy kind of silky texture, and it helps them cook more evenly. Like if I just took that dough that I prepped that's over there, we're going to make a couple cookies with that just for comparison. But usually the cookies come out drier than if you let it refrigerate overnight. I assume it also just helps, like, I don't know the food science behind it, but with the butter and everything, I assume it just helps it all kind of combine. But you can see how it's not even like sticking to the Pyrex I have it in. But if any other cooks or real food scientists or people want to chime in or tell me what I'm completely doing wrong, I am completely open to criticism in this, especially in this area of life, because it's something that, you know, I mentioned I was very fortunate to have a mother that not only loved doing this kind of stuff, but encouraged, you know, me and my brothers and other people to get involved in, like when I was really young, I don't even remember how old I was, like 10, 12, we got the Mickey Mouse cooking book, which had all the different recipes and stuff from like Disney resorts and places. And core memories learning how to bake, and honestly even like screwing some stuff up pretty badly, but was learning how to make some stuff out of those. And inspired a passion that I've kept since. Oh yeah, we just need to get our cooling racks out, just in prep. Well, this is why I need to build additional counter space. Now investing cooling racks on our laptop and shit. Alright, so that will be tray 1. Which I think looks pretty damn good, which I don't want to rest directly on the laptop. We'll check the brownies after I finish this. We're not at the 40-minute mark yet, but we're getting pretty close to it. What's our stream time say? I can't see. I can't see. Oops, too big. Yeah, I was even thinking of cooking some last night when I made this batter. And then going like full Martha Stewart style and like pulling out, you know, the prepped batter from the fridge. And at this stage, we'll just go ahead and pull out what we've already prepared here. And then pull out like the fully done cookies and just start fucking eating them on stream too. That's how real cooking shows should go. Or even if I want to continue giving shout outs to other people who've joined in, another person who told me that this is a great idea to do is Nurse from the Nurse Huckleberry stream, and her partner, or her husband Duder, they, when they do their cooking streams, always do in the stream with actually eating the stuff they cook, which is pretty cool. But I was also talking with my friend John's partner. She said that this seemed like a good idea, that people always like to watch guys cook. So if this is something that people enjoy watching, I could do this for even the stuff I eat. Like, I don't eat out really at all anymore. Or especially since I've been more frugal financially. I think I've only had, like, delivery or done, like, Uber Eats or anything, like, a couple of times in the last 6 months. And one of those was when I had a friend who came and visited, got some stuff that is better for takeout than for dine-in. Okay, so I'm saving some spots just to make 2 cookies with the... I could just make this whole bottom row. Yeah, let's just do that. We'll make this whole bottom row with the other batter for comparison. I will re-roll this up. I'm just trying to make sure I don't go overboard with, like, trying to spread it evenly. You can even see the brown sugar and stuff starting to come off. So you want to try and do this while the dough is, you know, not fully room temp, chilled, but maybe not like cold. But if you let it get warm, you'll start to lose some of that flavory goodness. But even those brownies are starting to smell delicious now. Ah, shit. I also meant to get toothpicks, so I could do the toothpick test. That's okay. We have plenty of chopsticks. Which I use for all kinds of cooking. Another thing I really like to make that I could do, if people like the cooking streams, is takoyaki. As I drop shit all over my place, but I've got like this cast iron that I use for making takoyaki. And even doing like Americanized versions, like breakfast versions, where instead of putting squid, you do bacon, egg, and cheese. Yeah, so you can see how, with it still a little bit warm, some of those chocolate morsels are already starting to melt in this. But we're just going to do a transfer here. Yeah, this still came out pretty good, even though I fucked up adding the egg. and then we'll pull 4 cookies out of this. Okay, group up all of our dirty stuff. Do the limbo. Hopefully all the cameras are working and we're not getting too much lag. When I went and rewatched the PC build stream, there were a couple moments where the audio completely cut out, and I don't know if that's just because of the way I had that set up, or if the laptop just was starting to die. But, okay. Oh, this still had some milk on it. Shit. That might influence it too. Wipe my wet hands off too. But yeah, this dough still holds together really well. I was worried there was going to be I might have added maybe a little too much milk. I did do a dash of milk to these as well though, so if I'm doing a true comparison, this is the way I guess to do it. But yeah, you can see the chocolate starting to melt just from the heat of the oven, which is also why I'm sweating. Heat is on. Heat is on. Okay. They look darker though. We'll see how they look after I refrigerate the rest of this overnight. Uh-oh. Too much chocolate, not enough dough. Okay. Should be good. Let's check our brownies. All right. Let me just smash this down a little bit. And then we'll refrigerate this overnight, and I will cook more cookies, bake more cookies tomorrow. My little towel go? Has anyone seen my towel? You just used it. Oh, it's underneath the cookies. Okay. So now we'll get a clean fork. And I know some people like dip them in sugar and stuff. I'm not gonna do that. I think that's kind of. I know it's like par for the course with peanut butter cookies. But I do like to smash the tops down a little bit. And if I weren't baking cookies and brownies, I'd be cleaning as I go too. But let's get these here. Just kind of smash it just to make sure it'll have that nice flat cookie texture. Like it'll spread out a little bit still, since this is primarily a regular cookie recipe that I've added peanut butter to. But that's why I said I also like to make the balls a little bit bigger, so that you get that kind of chewy, warm, gooey, chewy center. And also why I'm doing this right before the Chiefs game, because I got people all excited about fresh cookies and brownies, and so when I heard that the fresh part was the exciting thing, I wanted it to be coming out of the oven as close to me getting in the car. Like, obviously this will still give me a little bit of time for them to dry. Like, you do want to put the cookies on a drying rack. And same thing with the brownies. You want to have those, you don't want to eat them like straight out of the oven. You want to give them a little time to cool. This one might have a little bit too much chocolate in it. Said no one ever. No, for real though, it might not turn out very cookie-like. When I pressed it down, it's just all chocolate chunks right there. Yeah. Yeah, given the amount of sugar and brown sugar in the mix, I don't really, like, I know people dip, like I said, their fork or put sprinkles of sugar and stuff on the top of the cookies, but I'm not doing that. Okay, so we'll remember that these darker cookies here are from our batter today that hasn't been refrigerated, and then every other one is from batter that has been refrigerated. This little guy, not looking too good. Probably one of the first ones we made. Whatever. Imperfect cookies are still cookies. Just like people. So we'll check our brownies, which still have a few minutes to go. Oh my god! Y'all. These aren't done yet, but fucking look at that. Look at that! We'll give it just a couple more minutes though, and I will start cleaning up just a little. Since I made a tiny mess. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, or again, if people like seeing this kind of stuff, I mean, I'm getting closer and closer to streaming the majority of my life, which I know at the very beginning I talked about kind of not doing, but it is what originally brought me to the platform, and it's seeing more content of especially the stuff I'd probably be doing anyways. Like, I would have been baking these cookies and making these brownies whether I'm on stream or not right now. I also get that I'm not talking to the microphone, so I assume that the feedback from the build stream of people not being able to hear me if I'm not directing my voice at the mic still stands. That's why I want a wireless one. Yeah, we can even mount a camera right above me. You can see my sink too. I actually did have two of the cameras that are facing me right now. I was originally using those. But the delay on them is too long. So that's why I have the phone mount above my microwave that thankfully didn't fall into my face or the cookie batter. Alright. Thankfully for cookie stuff, like, the cleanup's pretty easy. It's not an overly intensive process. Where are we at on the donations, too? We still at... Where are we at? 59? 60? Something like that? I also have to ask my old work to see if there's any way I can borrow some of the high temp cameras I know they've used for... They do a lot of environmental testing and putting things in like thermal chambers to heat cycle components like PCBs and honestly stuff just kind of almost exactly like motherboards to make sure that it'll work in really high temp or low temp environments. So I could ask and see if I could borrow some of theirs to put in my oven so you could watch the brownies and the cookies unfurl. But I doubt they'd let me do that. That'd be a pretty big ask. Okay. So I think our brownies are almost done. We'll get a fresh chopstick here. Got a handful of nicer wooden ones too that we'll use to do our toothpick test. We'll save this to wipe our oven back down. They should be almost at time. So you want it to come back out clean. Oh, a little bit of... Go for just a couple more minutes. And I don't think I can fit those with the cookies. But we'll have to turn the heat down a little bit too. Or turn the heat up a little bit too. Cookies real quick so I can just clean the oven while we're doing this. Look at that fucking mess. No, it's not that bad actually. It's be pretty easy to clean up. Uh-oh. Some morsels made it down, and we've got melted chocolate in here. I bet if I left some of this dough on here, we'd make little like cookie crumbles just on top of the oven. I wouldn't eat that, but... more chocolate. Good thing about spilling flour and sugar, I guess the chocolate got a little messy, but at least with most of the powdered stuff, it's pretty easy to clean up. Cool. Good enough for now. I've had way worse. Alright, check our brownies again. And then it should be cookie time. Where's my oven mitt? Oh. It's over here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah! Oh, that looks so good. Okay. Should wipe this off too. So I can do the real clean test right in the middle. Yeah! All right. So we'll cover that in foil and let that sit. But these are our cast iron brownies. Uh-oh. When did that get fucked up? Hopefully we're not frozen. These are our cast iron brownies that we just made very quickly that everyone saw. So we're going to change the bake temperature to 350. And then as soon as that hits, a little bit too much foil too. Perfect. Brownies. Probably just put this on here for me to take. Right like that. And then cookies. I should be able to get everything cleaned up just while the cookie's big. There we go. All right. So we'll put the batch from refrigeration. Oh shit, I need to use my rack up too. Letting out all the heat. And then this, which has the batter from today that wasn't refrigerated, and then the batter from last night with the rest of them. Oh, it smells so fucking good in here right now. Ah. That's hot. Don't do what I just did, kids. That's dangerous. Okay, set a timer for 13 minutes. Oh shit, my watch is like. Set a timer for 13 minutes. Cool. While those are baking, I'm gonna do a little cleanup, or I guess I can show some other tips, some other tricks, some other stuff that I've learned from family and grandmas and stuff like that. Like when it comes to easy to set timers, if you don't have a watch or phone, like I'm using my watch because my phone is what's actually taking the video right now for my oven. You can vacuum too now. But I have like this little AccuRite timer thing, which even has a little magnet so you can put it on the fridge. So you can, set timers too, which will count down, which is really helpful. But for doing conversions, shit. If you don't want to ask Wolf from Alpha or have to do all the math all the time. Oh man, that really did get kind of wonky on there. You're just staring at most of my microwave. Well, we'll have to work on that, but that's why I want to get better cameras too. But I have these, which let you cut recipes in half pretty easily, or it's just called a measure magnet. Let you double recipes. And so if I wanted to find out when I'm looking at stuff like this, like, okay, I have, 8 ounces of this stuff. How much is that in cups? How much is that in teaspoons? That kind of stuff. It's super helpful. So I keep those on my fridge as well. keeps moving like that too. I guess just the cable. We'll try that, see if it moves that time. But you're still looking at a lot of the microwave and not the oven. I don't know. Well, that's good enough for now. I think. Okay, so while we're all hot and sweaty, while our cookies bake, do some dishes. Dishes or cleaned anything on the string before. Oh shit, I moved the mic back over too. You probably can't hear me again. This would be some weird ASMR content too. Doing dishes. Probably like trigger a lot of people. My least favorite thing! It's not what I come to Twitch for! Stuff back up. It looks like you can see a pretty good amount from, again, the camera that I have stuck to the top of my drying rack above my sink is the one that's normally facing this way in my kitchen during my regular streams. So those cameras, although they're a little bit laggy, seem to actually work out pretty well. Okay, so that's it. All of our ingredients put away. Got a good amount of the cleanup done, just while everything bakes. I know it's easy to like not do that, and I'm guilty of it a lot of the time too, but for instances like this, like, especially when it only takes 20 or 30 minutes or 13 minutes or so for things like cookies, it's just so much easier to clean as you go. It'd be nice to have a helper. But until we get to that point, or back to that point, I'm doing alright solo. And honestly, with better cameras and a wireless mic, like I think this would be a completely different kind of setup. Because right now I have wires ran everywhere, and even having to manually move this mic around or play limbo while I'm cooking. I'm lucky I didn't pull that thing off. I'm just much more cognizant of that because the mic costs more than a lot of the stuff that I have in my kitchen. But it's a wired one that's meant to sit on your desk and not, be clipped to you or used as you're moving around. But the peanut butter and some of the chocolate on the oven is honestly the only real mess that was made. Not to make a mess out of my normally carefully regulated diet, though. If anyone is interested, I could also add links for the frying rack I'm using, the pot and pan rack that I set up and installed. Honestly, half the shit that's in my kitchen, most of it's from the internet. Minus the cast iron that I salvaged from Porter's yard. I'll have to find those pictures too, or show off what they looked like. Those two pans, the one that has brownies in them right now, and then the one that I showed next to it. They were in pretty bad shape, but one of them looks like it's from like the early 50s, late 40s, according to cast iron subreddits and people who really care about that stuff. And you can't get that kind anymore. Okay, that is most of the dishes too. So the clean as you go method tends to help save future you from sometimes the asshole of cooking present. But I'll keep the camera up there just so we can show the cookies as they come out, and then I'll give another pan around to show what the kitchen looks like for those who may have joined in during the stream. But to show that I'm not lying when I say we got the dishes done too. Need to vacuum. Okay, is that gonna be cutting it pretty close on the cooling time. Chiefs game starts in a little over an hour. Where are we at on our timer though? Two minutes. Oh my God, they're looking so good. Oh, I probably should have transitioned this too. Oh, no, I guess it's just those two. Unless you just wanted to stare at my back. I've got this one. But when I'm cooking, or the reason I set up the other ones, is because while I'm at my stove, you would only just be seeing this, which isn't the best view. Yeah, do you not hear me? Yeah, my audio can be low when I'm not like holding the mic because it's not wireless. Is it working though? Hopefully it's working. But that's what I was saying earlier. I want to get a wireless mic. Looking into him, it's kind of a minefield. Or Tudy, I think you even shared that one that did have some good reviews. You know, it's just a huge investment. And another thing that unfortunately did not drop down in price, or I was looking at even some of my price alerts for the Rode wireless mic, which a couple people had recommended to me, and it went up $10 and then went down $11. So it was $1 off, but not a very good price. Yeah, well, I mean, I put the longest like USB-C cable I had on this, so it does reach across, but I have this, I guess I can try and show with this mic, if you can see it. Like, when I was doing the limbo back and forth, or when you saw me ducking down, that is stretched dangerously close, and like my laptop is down here, so I was either at risk of pulling my laptop off or pulling my mic off, which both of those would have been horrible things to have happen. We also got a little sugar on our keyboard. Yeah, that's not the end of the world. But I think this went pretty well. When I don't have the mic not near me, or I originally moved it over because when I was messing with the stuff in the sink, I didn't want to have, you know, just a bunch of clanking and noises on that. Okay, time to check the cookies though. Bring our mic back over. Get our drying rack set up on this side. Actually, I should put parchment paper on this too. Yeah, so there's our other timer there too. Let's take a look. Oh my god. Look at him! Fucking look at that shit! Oh, it's so cool. And then here's these. So you can see these are the ones from the batter today. I am going to do a little test with these because these may not be fully done. Where'd my chopstick go? But thank you all for joining in. It's awesome to see you all here during the day. I think this is actually one of the earliest times I've started too. Yeah, so they still could use, it did come out clean, but unlike the brownie stuff, I usually like mine, you know, I like it to be a little bit well done, not like crunchy, but where you have that harder outer edge on the cookie and then like the soft inner center. So they're also not all going to fit on this drying rack. What the hell am I thinking here? We'll pull out a giant Pyrex. Pull out the big guns. And then I can do one layer on the bottom. This fit. Damn it, it's just barely too big to fit inside that thing. Got this thing. That also does not fit in there. It kinda does. I could like bend it. Just bend it in. Don't do this at home either, kids. Haha, look at that! Fucking He-Man'd it into place. Yeah, we can do that. And then just put some on top, I guess. It's better if it actually held some above it. Yeah. I don't know exactly how I want to transport these things, but I think they are going to be happy that they are going to be as fresh as possible here. But I usually like to put them on a cooling rack for at least 5 minutes. I'm supposed to be there before 5, so we're cutting it close. But I don't want to overdo the cookies either. Peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Here, I'll go back to the recipe while we give it just another minute. Uh-oh. So we are doing peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Oh, and I also made brownies, which I'll show the recipe for that again too. You can see this though, my laptop can't even handle, oh shit. It froze again. I don't know if you can even see the frozen stuff, but we're doing peanut butter chocolate chip cookies and then double chocolate brownies. I'm going to transition off this before I freeze my stream at the end here. But the box for the brownies is right here. From Aldi. Or, yeah, the cookies I made from scratch. All the ingredients and stuff that I used to make them are right here. All nice and neatly packed back away. But peanut butter chocolate chip cookies and then double chocolate brownies. Okay. Getting impatient now. I want to eat my cookie. It smells so good in here. Like, I wish I could capture the smell, or whatever that smellizer or thing from like Richie Rich was, or I wish there was a way for me to capture what my place currently smells like and share that with all of you, because it smells like beautiful cookie brownie amazingness. Okay. Yeah, we're at 3 minutes over. So I think it's time to take them out. Oh my god, that looks so good. I guess I'll figure that out in a second. We'll get our brownies out of here first. Just for cooling rack purposes, I can do that. And then we'll put the other ones next to it. Look at this though! I am on the right screen too, right? And I'll move this back over here. Sorry, I keep forgetting to move the mic. Oh. Look at that! I'll make sure I eat that one. Chocolate just gooing off of these things. And that thing is not going to be big enough. Fuck. I have a bigger one, but that's going to be too big. Screw it! Okay, so these are the others. And then I'll remember that these ones, which I can't, my hand right here. This is from the dough that is the exact same recipe. I did technically add the eggs a little bit later. But the exact same recipe, just not refrigerated overnight. So refrigerating overnight does help quite a bit for anyone interested in replicating this themselves. But we did it. We made brownies and chocolate chip cookies in less than 2 hours. In like an hour and a half or so, right? Not a very long stream. We'll show the brownies off again too. Oh my gosh. So all of this made today. The brownies obviously did come from a box, but everything else from scratch. So I think this was a pretty successful stream. I'm going to let this stuff cool off, and I'm going to keep the camera on there as I get cleaned up a little bit here. But yeah, I think this went pretty damn well. So open to any feedback. I will continue to try to be better about using my mic and keeping it close to my face, because it does look like that helps quite a bit. My OBS still looks kind of frozen, but whatever. I think that looks pretty awesome. So I think it's time for me to get cleaned up, and then I'm going to head out here shortly. But thank you all for joining in. If anybody else is able to give, today is the last day for the charity drive, the Together for Good, and I did choose Doctors Without Borders, MSF, for my charity. And looks like we've had a good number of people who have jumped in and donated. So if anyone is able to continue giving to help us get all the way to our goal, that would be amazing. But thank you all just for joining in and for all the time and everything you've spent on this channel. It's been absolutely wonderful having all the support. So thanks again. Oh, shit. I guess I can also show, I'll just use this camera. Well, this might be a little bit weird, but just to show that we actually did, there's a couple cups and things that I want to just put in my dishwasher instead. But got all of our dishes done, got all of our ingredients wrapped back up, and honestly, even some of our pans and things put back away as well. So, but this is the camera that normally sits basically right here. So for those of you who have joined in on other streams, you've probably seen this view, and that is from that exact camera that instead I just used this little twist tie and other stuff to just mount up there. Then you also have the cat, Will Jackson, cat cam. Thank you. You can't have cookies, I'm sorry. He smells food. And normally when I'm cooking, I share stuff with him. But for this, I guess I'll just leave this camera here for now. Put it there. So you can get both angles while I get cleaned up. Nice. I will be back though before I leave. I'm not just going to leave the stream on the whole time I'm gone. That would also be a waste of power. Okay, you want some treats for being such a good boy? Come on, little one. to go. It's good to let it all cool off a little bit. I do want to try one right now, though. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat. Mmm. It's so fucking good. Oh my god. It's so good. Mmm. It doesn't get much better than that. Ah! Gonna have to go for a run in the morning. Okay. Is this cool enough to put in my car? Yeah. Can it fit in this? Are you safe? Nope. No. I'll just put it under this very festive fall baking mat. Right then. It's time. Yeah, this isn't going to fit in the way I wanted. I could do it like this, though. It'd be great if this was slotted, if it was just a little bit wider. Could slot over it. You can do it like that. Or actually, let's do this. Yeah, I'll just do that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining in on the stream. I really do appreciate all the support and for everyone who's come in here again. But I think it is time for me to end it and to head out here myself. So I'll see you all again very, very soon. And if anyone again wants recipes or anything for these wonderful, wonderful cookies, I'm more than willing to share. But have a good rest of your day. Go Chiefs!